Hello BookTube, this is Weekly Reads. This reading week has been mostly good. Certainly a lot better compared to last week's Weekly Reads, which was so terrible I did not make a video. If I have enough time and I feel up to it, I'll address that at the end of this video. But let's get going with the books because there are quite a few that I need to talk about. So, I read a lot of manga this week. And some of them were a series that I'm trying out for the first time. One of those is Trillion Game by Riichiro, Inagaki, and Ryuichi Ikagami. This is a relatively new series that's just getting its English translation early last year. It's about two young men, Haru and Garu. It's not Haru. Haru and Gaku, who become friends in the transition between middle school and high school, and eventually they go into business together. All the while trying to frustrate the desire of this incredibly wealthy woman to control Haru or something. I didn't like it. I like the artwork. The artwork is really good. It's just the story just didn't really work for me. I am much more interested in science fiction and fantasy, and this is more, relatively speaking, realistic. Although, again, I don't really want to read about billionaires right now. I also wasn't all that impressed by After God by Sumi Eno. So this is a story about a world in which mysterious beings called gods have invaded the world. And if you look upon a god, you will be turned into water. Which happened to the friend of the main character, who is some sort of human-god hybrid who has a strong desire to kill the gods. And she gets roped into the machinations of a research institute that seeks to destroy the gods too. And again, I liked the artwork, but I think with my criticism of Tokyo Ghoul is that would the real world be able to cobble together the sort of super science that is a requirement to sort of have a technological attack on these beings? I don't know it. Yeah. It just didn't quite work for me. So, I don't think I'm going to be following along, continuing with either one of those. I was much more impressed by Mao, by Rumiko Takahashi. This is her latest work. It's about a young woman named Nanoka who was in a major accident as a child. And one day she finds herself traveling through a portal to the Taisho era, where she meets a young man named Mao. Although, for somebody who's 900 years old, he looks damn good. Mao is hunting a 7-tailed demon cat named Boichi, and Nanoka kind of gets involved because she is also connected to Boichi. I really enjoyed this volume and will be looking for more. Over the weekend, on Sunday, I read 3 volumes of Blue Exorcist by Kazue Kato, volumes 4 to 6. Blue Exorcist is about the twin sons of Satan. The older twin Rin inherited his father's power. The younger twin Yukio did not. The twins were taken in by a very powerful exorcist named Father Fujimoto, who essentially adopted the boys. While Rin was largely allowed to live a normal life until his power started manifesting and they could no longer be suppressed, so Rin's powers begin to manifest. And up to this point, as the series begins, he and Father Fujimoto do not have the best relationship. And all of this culminates in one hell of a fight between the two. That probably, outside of the fantastic elements of the story, probably would have resulted in Rin leaving the church orphanage and never speaking to Father Fujimoto again, or at least not for a very, very long time. Instead, this leads to Satan taking the opportunity to possess Father Fujimoto, and as a result of this confrontation, Father Fujimoto dies. And Rin is taken in by the cover model Mephistopheles, who is a leader of the True Cross organization, an organization of exorcists worldwide. He is also the chairman of True Cross Academy and its attendant exorcist cram school. So Mephisto gives Rin the ultimatum: either I kill you or you become an exorcist. Rin, having a desire to beat up his father, takes the offer to become an exorcist. And then he learns that his twin brother is actually an exorcist and is a mid-ranked exorcist. And so this brings a lot of family complication. There's a lot of resentment that's hinted at, and I really like that part of the story, the sort of family dynamics. But I don't know, there's just something that doesn't quite work for me in this series. I think so this volume begins with Rin and his classmates going on a working camping trip that goes poorly, largely due to Mephistopheles' interference. I'm not entirely sure why he's doing what he's doing, but it results in Rin getting exposed, and basically he's put on even more restrictions where he has to do extra work in order to prove that he's worthy of surviving. And in the later volumes, the group goes to Kyoto to work a case. And one of the subplots is Rin's classmates working to accept him once they learn that he's Satan's kid. And also that there is something seriously wrong with Yukio emotionally. So, I mean, there are things that I liked about it. Particularly, I think the Kyoto arc started to pick things up some. But I guess maybe my issue is that I'm not entirely sure under the circumstances I quite buy that Rin would be so gung-ho to want to join the Exorcists. I mean, punching dad in the face, I can understand. He's an asshole. But joining the Exorcists, I'm not entirely sure. So I'm not entirely sure what I want to do about Blue Exorcist. Because there is a bit of unfinished business. But I don't know. Also, I would need to pick up a new copy of Volume 4 because that one was a misprint. Anyway, moving on to Dr. Stone by Riichiro, Inagaki, and Boichi. I read volumes 7 through 9. Dr. Stone is a series set thousands of years in the future after a mysterious incident petrified all of humanity. Eventually, a teen genius named Sinku broke out of the petrification, and alongside his friends, both those who had been petrified and the few humans who managed to avoid being petrified, to rebuild the world using the power of science. They are at this point opposed by another young man who had been petrified named Tsukasa, who, while he does not eschew, he's not a Luddite, he also does not want to bring the old world back. He wants to create a new world. And he sees the only way for that to happen is for mostly children and the young to be petrified, and the old and the adult to be destroyed. So I rather liked these volumes. So I think I'll continue with the series. Although I do think at times it's a bit wordy and the science kind of at times verges on the super science, but I mostly like this series. I'll give it a little bit more. I also tried xxHolic by Clamp. This is the sister series to Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle. It's about a young man named Kimihiro Watanuki who can see and interact with the supernatural, which he does not want. So he eventually finds his way to the shop of the space-time witch Yuko. And she agrees to remove his sight and attractiveness to the supernatural in exchange for work. So Kimihiro becomes a sort of everyman servant at the shop. And I really enjoyed the series. I quite liked the 3 volumes I read on last Friday. I also read volumes 4 and 5 of Tokyo Babylon. This is one of Clamp's earlier series. It came out in the early 90s. It's about a young onmyojo named Subaru, who works for a number of clients, including the Japanese government, dealing with supernatural shenanigans. He is being courted by an older man named Saichiro with the support of Subaru's twin sister, Hokuto. However, nothing is quite as it appears to be. Saichiro has his own agenda, which is not necessarily going to lead to a happy ending for Subaru. So I enjoyed these 2 volumes. They're quite sort of touch on some social issues, which I thought was really cool. Although perhaps could be a bit more expanded on. But there's only 2 more volumes left of the series because I think it's 7 volumes long. And while I'm at it, let's show some pictures. And the concluding storyline of volume 5, I thought had some... I'm not sure what I make of it. Because I'm like, who in there... I'm like, I'm not entirely sure I buy it. But anyway. So, that was Tokyo Babylon. I also read 2 volumes of I might be missing one. Okay. So I read Mao. Oh yeah, okay, that's who I'm missing. Oh well. Doesn't really matter. So I also read 2 volumes of Sakamoto Days, volumes 2 and 3 by Yuto Suzuki. Sakamoto Days is about a former hitman, Taro Sakamoto, who falls in love and quits the assassination business to own a convenience store. However, the assassination business is not done with him. And it takes Sakamoto's cunning and the friendship of some former colleagues to get him out of the crosshairs of assassination contract. I really loved these 2 volumes. They were a lot of fun. And it also looks like there are a number of other things going on as well. Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I also read 2 more volumes of Dark Gathering by Kenichi Kendo, volumes 10 and 11, which gets me caught up with the series until volume 12 comes out next month. So, Dark Gathering is about a young man named Kaito, who can sense the supernatural and is very attractive to the supernatural. He and a friend, Aika, were cursed, and this led to Kaito being a shut-in. However, with his family and Aika's support, Kaito came out of it and re-entered society, and finally managed to go to college. And to further help with his reintegration, Kaito takes a job as a tutor. Unfortunately, his first client is a very creepy young girl named Yayoi, who happens to be Aika's cousin. Yayoi can see the supernatural and interact with them. And her favorite hobby is to go to haunted places, track down the ghosts haunting them, kick their malevolent asses, and forcibly conscript them into her ghost army, which she is building and training to go after a monstrous embryonic spirit entity thing called Kubo that kidnapped Yayoi's mother shortly after her death. This series is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And it is definitely, if you are interested in the series, remember, it is a horror manga. So even though the protagonist is a 10-year-old little girl, it's a horror manga. So these 2 volumes cover part of an arc in which Yayoi, Kaito, and Aika are going to Kyoto to prepare for a battle against an evil god that has claimed one of their friends. Kaito's other client, a young girl named Ai, who is fated to be married to this malevolent little piece of shit of a god. And so Yayoi has formulated a plan of attack. And these volumes cover them preparing for this plan of attack. And oh boy, is it good. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, really good. And I also read 6 more volumes of Bleach by Tite Kubo. Bleach is one of the great manga series. It's about a young man named Ichigo Kurosaki who can see and interact with ghosts. One day he meets a young woman named Rukia Kuchiki, who is a Shinigami, a soul reaper. She is tracking down a hollow, a fallen, corrupted spirit that has not transitioned into the Soul Society. This hollow attacks the Kurosaki clinic, and Rukia is injured. In order to save Ichigo's family and to defeat the hollow, Rukia transfers some of her power to Ichigo, and this transforms him into a Soul Reaper himself. However, once the hollow has been destroyed, Rukia discovers that she's lost her powers, that she actually gave all of it to Ichigo. And Ichigo has to take her place as the Shinigami covering his hometown of Karakura Town, which is a neighborhood of Tokyo. Eventually, things go down, and Karakura Town, because of all of the supernatural shenanigans, becomes a eldritch location that is ripe for some evil plans. And this involves one of Ichigo's friends, Orihime, being kidnapped by, at this point, the series' main antagonist, Aizen, and his followers, which leads Ichigo and his other friends, Chad and Yuryu, as well as Rukia and another Shinigami, Renji, to invade the world of the Hollows. And then they are later supported by 4 captains of the Shinigami. Meanwhile, Aizen and his followers launch an attack on Karakura Town, which had been moved to the Soul Society, and a false Karakura Town put in its place, so that there weren't any civilian casualties. There's a lot going on, and it is amazing. I really, really loved these volumes. I'm really enjoying this. So I had a blast. Oh yeah. So it was a lot of fun. A lot of the fights were really cool. And I had a blast reading these 6 volumes. And I cannot wait for more. Let me see here. Yeah. So, a lot of fun. So, I have a little bit of time left. So, I will talk a bit about what happened last week. So, after I finished Fullmetal Alchemist and the January pre-orders, I decided that I was going to take a bit of a break from reading manga. And so that week I read some of my other February reading plans. unfortunately, things went to hell in a handbasket, and I just did not like anything at all. It was not a wasted weekend, it was an entire wasted week. And not the kind of wasted weekend, or in this case, wasted week, that Criminali and the Garbagas gang are promising. No, this was... I wish I could take that week back. So, anyway, and I'm feeling a bit like I would maybe want to take another break from manga this coming reading week, but I don't think I will, because today I ended up trying one of the other books that I didn't get to, and no. So I think it will be more manga, so probably One Piece and Twin Star Exorcist, a few other series that I need to try, and also the February pre-orders, which should be coming in sometime next week, because I got the email from Book People saying that they'd shipped. So it should actually ship either tomorrow or on Monday, and so I'll get it probably Wednesday or Thursday at the latest. And then I'll read those 6 volumes then, as well as finding the time for the Summer Hikaru Tide. But anyway, that's for next weekly reads. Anyway, this week has been exhausting. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now, and I will see you next week. So until then, BookTube, thank you, have a great evening and weekend, and stay safe.